Hello, everyone, and welcome to another special edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody. This is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. Tonight, WWE SmackDown comes to us once again from Chicago, Illinois. And John Cena is going to be there. I believe CM Punk, the hometown guy, is going to be there. I would love it if AJ Lee would be there tonight, but I don't want to get my hopes up too quick because you never know. But let's talk about what history says. Now, for those of you who have already seen it, I have a review of my top 10 favorite Chicago matches, part 1. This is part 2 of my top 10 favorite matches from the Windy City. Let's get started. First on this list, or last on this list, at number 10, we have Christian Cage, who loves to talk about dead dads, before he liked talking about dead dads, versus RVD. Now shut your mouths while I'm conducting business. I'm just playing. That guy's such a jerk. But in any event, and he was a jerk in this era as well, but he was not as hated. However, Christian Cage, the Intercontinental Champion, would face RVD in a ladder match. And let me just say, if there is ever a need for pain-killing pills, it would be in this match. The things these guys did to each other with the use of the ladder. I know I'm surprised. This match alone was awesome, but I'm surprised in a happy way that they are still doing okay, because I know if you guys live like this, the aches and pains that you guys go through nowadays, I cannot imagine, because the moves that they did using the ladder was crazy. However, there were a lot of exciting moments, and in the end, it was RVD who would win the match and once again become Intercontinental Champion. Next on this list at number 9, we have Alexa Bliss winning the Money in the Bank ladder match from 2018. This women's ladder match included the likes of Sasha Banks, now known as the Belt Collector, CEO Monet. We had Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, among many others. But this match was very good, and there were a few favorites, including Becky. However, it was in the end where Alexa Bliss would win this match, not only winning the match, but going on to cash in that very same night against then champion Nia Jax, whom defeated her at WrestleMania 34 a couple of months prior to this. At number 8, we have AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura, and one of the last man standing capitals of the U.S., that would be Chicago, Illinois, Money in the Bank 2018. And this whole thing started because Shinsuke Nakamura wanted to be a ball buster. So Shinsuke was a sore loser at WrestleMania 34. Then at Backlash, they ended up hitting each other in their Japanese legendary groins. Then this was the settlement match. So in this settlement match, we had a last man standing match. And of course, we saw tables break. We saw chairs at use. We saw Shinsuke go low again, but that wasn't enough to keep AJ down. Then AJ finally gave Shinsuke what he deserved by paying him back with a low kick, and then going for the Styles forearm from the top rope onto the floor, crushing the announce table, keeping Shinsuke down for a 10 count and retaining the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Championship. Next at number 7, we have another last man standing match between Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano at NXT TakeOver Chicago 24 hours prior to this. Just like this WrestleMania was known as Triple Threat Weekend, this was known as Last Man Standing Weekend because this would take place prior to AJ Styles' 24 hours, and this match was so personal. Well, I take that back. Please excuse me, I got it mixed up. The Last Man Standing match took place at Brooklyn. Excuse me. This was just a Chicago street fighting. I'm sorry. But it was a very good street fight, and it got really intense when Tommaso Ciampa spat on the ring that belonged to Johnny Gargano, dedicated to his marriage to Candice LeRae. So Gargano wasn't going to take that lying down. He put Tommaso through tables. Then he was about to do more damage. Security came in and stopped him from doing damage while Tommaso Ciampa was handcuffed. Ironically, Tommaso Ciampa, while handcuffed, gave Gargano an apron DDT like Randy Orton for the victory, causing the whole Chicago crowd to nearly go into a stunned silence. Next on this list, and this is rather appropriate for this time, we have John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at Extreme Rules 2012. Now, much like now, this was due to a post-main event show return, except this time it was after SummerSlam had ended. This came after he had lost to The Rock. Brock Lesnar came back 24 hours later. They started a feud that went to Extreme Rules. And for the most part, Extreme Rules was very one-sided. It wasn't until John Cena got the chain that he came to the ring with and caught Brock Lesnar off guard, hit him with the chain, went for the attitude adjustment on top of the steel stairs for the win. This match was brutal. I had the pleasure of reviewing this, but this was almost one-sided until near the end, where John Cena found a way to pull off a shocking but very appreciative win. Next on this list at number 5, we continue with John Cena, this time versus Bray Wyatt in a last man standing match at Payback 2014. This was the rubber match, considering that John Cena won at WrestleMania 30. Bray Wyatt won by using a kid. God rest Bray Wyatt's soul, by the way. We miss him. At Extreme Rules 2014 in a steel cage match. So this was the rubber match to settle the score. Yes, we had another late friend. Luke Harper was there. Eric Rowan was there for Bray Wyatt. The Usos, came for John Cena to assist him, and the Usos and the Wyatt family ended up fighting while John Cena and Bray Wyatt took care of business, breaking tables, throwing steel stairs, and in the end of the match, right by the audience, John Cena went for an AA, putting Bray Wyatt through a box, through one of the electrical technical box, and then burying him under another box to keep him down. I think that was what Bray Wyatt. I wanted to make sure that wasn't with Rusev. Nonetheless, John Cena won this match, and it was awesome. You got to check it out. Next on this list at number 4, we have Ricochet versus Velveteen Dream at NXT TakeOver Chicago. This was the top match, even though Johnny Gargano versus Ciampa was the main event of that night. This was also the next best match of the night, because Ricochet with his high-flying moves and Velveteen Dream with his own great moves as well, these two put on an amazing show and an amazing match. The early start of the match gave me vibes of The Rock versus Hogan WrestleMania 18, as they stare it off just like they did. In the end, it would be Ricochet going for a 630 onto Velveteen Dream's back, winning the match for basically what I think is just for respect and building your name. And by the way, I really miss this side of Ricochet. I don't know what they're doing in AEW, but I really miss this side of Ricochet. It was awesome. We're coming up on the 10th anniversary. Not 10th anniversary, but we're coming up on the time where NXT is going to be having a homecoming soon. It's very appropriate that we continue talking about NXT with this next match. Women's War Games 2019. Team Rhea, which consisted of Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, supposed to be Mia Yim, but it was Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, Rhea, Candice, Dakota Kai, Tegan Nox, and who else? Yep, I think that's everyone from Rhea's side because it was 4-on-4. Over on Shayna's side, you have Shayna, Bianca, Alba Fire, and Io Sky. And as always, whenever you put Io Sky inside War Games, she is going to show out in her own way. Let's be honest. What makes this match so special, especially on Rhea Ripley's part, long before Rhea Ripley became mommy, what makes this special on her end is because it started off with 4 people, but after Dakota Kai viciously turned heel and attacked Tegan Nox, it left it with a 4-on-2 disadvantage for the team. And Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae were forced to face off against Shayna, Bianca, the EST, Alba Fire, and Io Sky. And they managed to overcome the odds and win the match just 24 hours before they had to try and get along with some of those teammates to win at Survivor Series traditional triple threat tag team match for the first time ever. But for Rhea to do what she did with Candice LeRae earns a lot of respect and a lot of praise on her name. Next on this list, let's go back in time. We're going to start with number 2. We have Ric Flair, versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat at Chi-Town Rumble, WCW NWA 1989. This match was actually for this particular World Heavyweight Championship right here. For that World Heavyweight Championship. And as always, when you put Ricky and Ric Flair together, they create magic, and they did the exact same thing in this match. Ricky Steamboat had his high-flying moves. Ric Flair had his figure 4 leg lock. They both chopped each other around, but in the end of this match, it was Ricky the Dragon Steamboat who would defeat then champion Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship. Next on this list at number 1, we go to Bret the Hitman Hart versus Owen Hart at SummerSlam 1994 Steel Cage Family Feud. If you have not seen this, you got to check it out. It was awesome. This was a WrestleMania rematch where they did excellent at WrestleMania. This is just a quarter more of the star rating at SummerSlam in a steel cage match, and they stole the show. It was the best match of that night, besides the Undertaker returning that night, which was the best moment. But that was the best match, the steel cage match. Bret Hart was defending the WWE Championship. He defended it very successfully after both men fought and tried to escape. But in the end, Bret Hart would trap Owens' legs inside the steel cage, the blue steel cage, the original cage, and escape to win the match and retain the WWE Championship. But that's my list of my top 10 favorite matches from Chicago. I'm your host, Dan Cody. That's all the time I have for you today. Hopefully we'll see AJ Lee return tonight, but I don't want to get my hopes up too much. But let's see what happens. Until then, have a great weekend, everyone.